Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Nosbusi Sotele. This is my first video on YouTube. I'm both excited and nervous. In this video, I want to talk about depression, a mental health disorder that is common and serious, yet we find it difficult to speak openly about. This is due to the stigma surrounding it because, let's be honest, depression is a highly stigmatized disorder in society today. It's seen as a weakness or vulnerability, so people choose to mask their depression with silence. I saw a quote which said, "I thought by masking the depression with silence, the feeling might disappear. Truth is, it gets worse." We've all heard about it, right? But a few of us can be able to describe what really is depression, how it feels like to be depressed, how to identify and go about helping a depressed person. So I decided to read a diary entry just to give you an idea of what depression feels like. Dear diary, I think I'm going crazy. I'm sad, but this kind of sadness is strange because it's always there. It is not healed by time. I sleep sad, wake sad, laugh sad. I'm always sad. Sometimes I wonder if I would ever be happy again. This is pain in its purest form. I've lost interest in almost everything that used to excite me. I feel like I'm drowning, but I'm not waving for help. How could I, when everyone around me is swimming and breathing perfectly fine? I'm ashamed to ask for help as I question myself, why am I this weak? When did I become so weak? I know I'm not weak. I know. It's just I don't feel strong anymore. I feel locked in a room dark and empty. I'm terrified. I keep hearing noises outside, and as I look through the window, I realize how happy, free, and courageous others are. So why should I find means to come out of this room? After all, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to dim other people's light. The world is perfectly fine without me. To someone who completely relates to this, I just want to tell you that you are not crazy, you are not a burden, you are not alone. God loves you, your family loves you, you are loved. This is what depression does. It negatively affects how you think, how you feel, and how you see the world around you. It's characterized by a number of things, but in this video, I will mention five which I experienced with my depression. Number one, a persistent sadness. Always sad. There's a quote which said, "You begin each day with hope that the next day would be better, but you'd wake up to the same pain as if black lamp were burning eternally inside you, radiating darkness." Katie McGarry said, "I saw the world in black and white instead of the vibrant colors and shades I knew existed." What you need to understand is that pain and darkness, same WhatsApp group. Pain demands darkness. Darkness requires pain. So it's just hard to separate pain from darkness. Number two, anhedonia. Anhedonia is loss of interest in things that used to excite you, whether it's writing or singing or dancing or hanging out with friends. It's important to note that people who are depressed not only lose interest in their hobbies, but they lose interest in their families, they lose interest in their friends, and that is why it is very unpleasant to be around such a person. Number three, guilt. Depression will make you feel so guilty, like you've done something wrong, like you are doing something wrong. It feels like you are the reason for your depression. If I didn't miss those lectures, if I attended those tutorials, if I studied for that practical, things would have been better. So you end up concluding that you are the reason for your depression. I'm sad because of me. I'm sad because I chose to be sad, which is false. No one chooses to be sad. And on that note, it's highly recommended to be sensitive when addressing a depressed person. Avoid saying things like snap out of it, swim out of it. Swim out of what exactly? Be positive, think positive. You have control over your mind, as if it was that easy. Well, I'm not condoning victim mentality. I do believe that the first step to overcoming depression or any kind of mental disorder is to free yourself from victim mentality, but be sensitive. Number 4, insomnia, difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. It's very difficult to find sleep when you are depressed. Didi Barron said, nothing solves insomnia like a nice warm glass of regret. And I agree. You can spend the whole night regretting your whole life, regretting missed opportunities, failed friendships, failed relationships, and what's sad is regrets are nothing but wasted thoughts. Number 5, eating disorders. I just want to focus on binge eating because most people turn to food for comfort when they are not feeling well, and they end up hating how they look, which affects their confidence. With me, there was a time in life when I found so much pleasure in chocolates. I used to find so much happiness in chocolate. Moving right along, you have to understand, and this is not directed to fellow depressive but to everyone. You have to understand that depression is a very self-centered illness. I can't remember who said that, but it will lock you in the room, isolate you from help, isolate you from people who loves you, isolate you from things that brings out the best in you. Take and take from you, but you still keep quiet about it. Why? Because if there is anything that we cannot run away from, is the fact that people who are suffering with depression are often viewed as being weak by the society. Taraji P. Henson said, we live in a society that has no space for vulnerable people. We are told to be strong all the time, hence speaking openly about our mental illness is very difficult, so we choose to mask our depression with silence. Therefore, I urge each and every one of you who's watching this video to look around yourselves. I learned that 1 out of 4 people is experiencing mental health problems. So you might not be the one who is depressed or experiencing any kind of mental health problems, whether it's anxiety, bipolar, or OCD, but someone very close to you is fighting alone. It can be a friend or a family member. Remember that one friend of yours who had everything figured out, the one you'd call a go-getter, but now things are not looking up for them and they've distanced themselves. Or remember that one friend of yours who used to be such a light and now they are dull and very unpleasant to be around. Reach out to that friend, ask her how is she doing, ask him how is he doing. Be kind, pray for that friend, pray for them. And if they are not ready to talk about what is going on, don't force them, just be there. Tell them you love them, shower them with love. Love is a very powerful language, trust me. I learned that self-advocacy is very powerful. It reaches to people who are going through same experience. So with this channel, I aim to make depression an educated topic, and not just depression, but the whole mental health topic, to kill the stigma surrounding mental health. Depression is not a taboo. Depression is not a sin. It's a mental disorder, a serious one because it's a silent killer. Ruby Wax said, mental illness is physical illness, and I totally agree. I believe if we could treat mental illness like physical illness, the accelerating numbers of people committing suicide might decelerate, because it puzzles me that it's very easy for people to go and see dentists, optometrists, audiologists, gynecologists, you name them, but it's very difficult to go and see a psychologist. Why? Public stigma, self-inflicted stigma. So I say no to the stigma surrounding mental health. Please join me. Please like this video, leave your thoughts on the comment section, and please subscribe and hit the notification button so that you know when I post my next video. Thank you so much.